Hey everyone, welcome back to our podcast, One Step at a Time. We're your hosts. I'm Hana,
I'm Sham.
And I'm Arushi.
and today is our third episode, and we're going to be discussing how mental health affects education.
I think that since mental health is something that isn't really talked about, people don't realize how significantly it can affect students' education. Something that I struggled with when I was going through a rough patch, my grades dropped. And my parents were like, why are your grades dropping? And for them, grades dropping means a C. Like a singular C is like, oh my God, no, you can't do that. And I think I didn't even know how to talk about it because I was like, what is wrong with me?
I agree. And like for me, a problem I faced was when like I did kind of talk about it, they kind of gaslit me. They're like, oh, you have such a nice home, you have loving parents, we feed you, bathe you, you live in a good home. Why are you depressed? And then they'd like compare me to like my cousins and everyone who have like all A's and in honors and AP classes. And it was just like a whole
Yeah, I would definitely say, I guess, when we think of mental health, we think of, like our home life or our relationships we have, but we don't really talk about how the responsibilities that we have outside of our home, including school, can be incredibly difficult if we're not stable. But I would say, personally for me, I have always been such a good student. I have always been on top of things, never a late assignment ever. That was my priority. And then I had a huge kind of depressive episode, knocked me all over the place, and I started college. And my freshman year of college was an absolute disaster because of my mental health. And I wish I could go back and realize that I needed to improve that first, and then I can improve my grades.
I think that like when it comes to mental health, first of all, our school system is so like your grades have to be good. There's so much pressure to get into college. Like your GPA has to be good. You have to get a good score on the SAT. Like you don't prioritize yourself. You start prioritizing the grades. And for some people, like I think there's some kind of pressure that you always have to do good. And then the stress gets seeped in there somewhere. Especially if you don't have fun learning. I just don't know how you would ever do that without feeling stressed.
Exactly. And then also, if you bring it home and talk about your stress at school, at home, it only adds stress at home, and then it's just this whole
cycle.
So I think we should talk about how students that are dealing with mental health problems might have trouble like at school. Personally, when I was depressed and I was trying to do my schoolwork, energy just was not there. And as we know, like lack of energy and like fatigue is a very common symptom of depression. And so trying to motivate yourself to do schoolwork that you don't even want to do is really, really difficult.
I think that's the biggest thing. Like when you are struggling with your mental health, you're so unmotivated. You don't have any energy to do anything. And schoolwork is probably at the bottom of that list. Like I went through this depressive phase. It was a depressive episode, I would say, because some things went really bad in school and that's like when my grades started dropping and I barely had the energy to go like brush my teeth and shower. Like I was getting out of bed every morning was a chore. I just think that schools, they like stress so much on academics, but schools don't do a good job of providing the resources to help students succeed when it comes to when mental health is an obstacle.
I feel like this mental health struggle is really worse in the past like year or year and a half because most of it was online. Even if you couldn't go into school, like if you went like to visit your friends or like just like to stay away from your home for a little bit, and even like you couldn't just walk to your counselor's office, or you didn't have any kind of outlet to like express any kind of like thoughts that you had. So that's just what I wanted to add. Like I noticed like my friends and I, like a lot of people, like even like our mental health struggles were really like exemplified in the past year because we didn't really like have anything else.
I think another thing that like really affect how like education can affect mental health, which I have really struggled with, lack of sleep.
Oh my gosh.
Lack of sleep. I don't sleep. Like
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't sleep either.
Oh my gosh. Just insomnia.
Right now, I'm taking a 5-hour a day SAT class. It's brutal. And I have a class that at the local community college in the morning, which is 2 hours. It's online, but it's a lecture. And I kid you not, my SAT class gives me like 300 problems for homework every day, due the next day.
No.
So I'm up till 4 a.m. doing this, and I wake up at 8. There was a point where I hadn't slept for more than like 4.5 hours, to the point where it's affecting my physical health. My mental health is like obliterated, like it's gone. We prioritize school and studies so much, and I'm kind of being a hypocrite right now, but I'm feeling the negative impacts of that right now, because you should prioritize it. I'm not saying just give up on school, but there should be a balance. The only reason that I'm continuing this unhealthy lifestyle, which I would not recommend to anybody, is because this class ends next week. So it's one more week and I'll be fine. I'm good. And I'm just gonna sleep for like the entire weekend. But it's so bad, because not only do you get like your grades drop, your mental health is just down in the dumps. You're not happy. You're just sad all the time. It's like it's starting to affect my physical health. Like my stomach is always hurting now, and like I'm a healthy person. I don't even have time to work out anymore, which is like really bad. I'm so sad about that.
Oh, me too. I feel like the same way. I'm glad that we all understand what it's like to struggle with sleep. I'm such a hypocrite, or I don't know if hypocrite's the right word, but me like knowing that I struggle with sleep and like I deal with a great amount of insomnia. I work a graveyard shift, and that's just for the summer, but I work a graveyard shift, and that's from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. And honestly, I would say that doing that job, as counterintuitive as it might seem, I get more sleep than I do during the school year when I'm trying to sleep at night.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's kind of confusing.
No, I kind of agree with it. Well, I don't have a job, but like during the summer, my entire sleep schedule, it's like I usually just don't sleep at night, but then like I sleep until the afternoon.
Yeah, it's like nocturnal.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're basically nocturnal.
Nocturnal, basically.
Yeah, which is already like not great for you, and you know, just as like a human being, that's not how our bodies are meant to function.
We can't function without sleep.
That's the thing. And then add on school or things, responsibilities that are
schools, clubs, everything.
Yeah,
it's like a big.
It's a big mess. It's
a big like zombie apocalypse.
It feels, honestly, sometimes it feels like you can't not sacrifice your mental health or your sleep or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But like, hey, maybe stop scrolling on TikTok for 2 hours and do your work at like 4 p.m. instead of starting at 8 o'clock. And I know I called that like a lot of people, but like that's the truth, because I used to do that. I used to procrastinate till like 9 o'clock, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not getting enough sleep. But why am I not getting enough sleep? Oh, because I go to sleep at like 3 a.m. Why are you sleeping at 3 a.m.?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle, and like it's hard to break, but if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, it's also hard. It's really, really difficult with sleep too, because I don't know too much about the cycles and like REM, whatever, but I know that sleep, when you lose sleep, it just adds up. Like it doesn't restart the next day. Like it just adds up. It's like, oh, you didn't get 4 hours of sleep last night. Okay, we're gonna stay here. And then the next day, if you don't get 12 hours of sleep plus the 4 hours that you missed last night, you're just like adding onto that bank of like not sleep. And
I'm at like negative 3,000 right now.
Yeah.
Like, no way I'm catching up, Anna. Like it's too late for me.
I know. I always think about that. I'm like, that's so overwhelming.
Yeah, and
I don't think about it. I just keep on chugging, which we shouldn't have to do that, but yeah.
And the thing is that like even if you look at it from like a biological perspective, like your brain, like your body does a lot of its work while you sleep.
Oh yeah, and like recovering, digesting.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, we're in so much trouble.
Okay, but I think like the school system also like not cooperates, but like adds to that problem, because
yeah, for sure.
Why do you need to be giving me 2 hours of homework every day when I spend an hour and a half in your class?
Right.
Because some teachers actually don't know when to stop. Like when I was like, even when we were online, some of my teachers were giving us like projects and giving us 3 days to complete like a big project. They're like, you're at home, right? You don't need as much time. I'm like, no, that's not how this works. like sitting in front of a computer for 5 hours a day isn't really that great for my mental health. Sitting for the next 5 hours doing your stupid project is not that great for my mental health.
Yeah. I was gonna say that I think that like wait, I forgot what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that like oh my god. No, sorry, I'm completely brain farting right now. What was I gonna say?
For lack of sleep.
It was like it was like what going off of what Arushi said, a lot of teachers like they use the excuse like, oh, you're in home so you have nothing else to do, to like assign you more work. And it's like they don't understand how like for a lot of people the pandemic was already affecting your mental health like really badly, like some more than others. And then by just like giving excuses and keep giving work, it's just like you're not doing anything, you're not helping at all, you're just making it worse. So it was just really stressful and annoying for a lot of people, me, like everyone included. It was just
let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Education in the pandemic and our mental health, I feel like that was terrible. Like I never want to do that again.
A lot of it was busy work. They would just give like projects, like bunches of homework and everything, but like it was like you weren't even learning anything, you were just doing it to do it. That's what I felt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is so bad, but the reason I got straight A's last semester was because I was home on my computer just looking up everything. There's no, it was like, why am I doing, I was chained to my desk all day.
My grades didn't drop, like if I'm gonna be honest, like
yeah,
it stayed the same. But the thing was that I was so like just out of it. I was unmotivated, I was like fatigued, like I was like, this is so boring, because it was the same thing every day, and I was like, this is not it.
Yeah, I can't imagine for high schoolers, for you guys to have like a whole day on the computer, because for me it was just like classes. Sometimes they didn't even have meetings. Sometimes I didn't even meet the teacher or know what the teacher looked like. I was just getting like web assignments. And my mental health was down the drain. I didn't even get to like make any connections with any new people, new teachers, nothing. I was just stuck, like me, my computer, myself in my room.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
I'm a very social person. I feel, even like I say that I'm a social person, but I talk to like the same 3 people every day. Like I don't talk to anybody else. But like if I'm in a like social setting, I'm very friendly. I think so, at least. But in my opinion, the best part of school was that the human interaction. Of course, there was drama and like stuff like that, but the human interaction, talking to people, making new friends, like, oh my God, did you hear what happened with blah, 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 blah. And lunch, like, oh, this teacher is so like, blah, this is, the project is so hard. Like, I believe that is the best part of high school. Like, that's the memories you look back on. You don't look back on the hard test you took in like pre-calc the day, like 10 years from now, right? Like,
that's the only purpose was to get you to do more work in college.
Exactly. And it's gone. Like, I didn't even have a full year in high school because the pandemic happened my freshman year.
Right.
And now I'm a junior and they want us to go back to school. I know that transition is just going to be terrible. It's going to be so rough.
I think all students, we're all going to have such a hard time adjusting to in-person life, in-person classes.
It's going to be like such a big switch and like so fast.
Right. And I think there'll be some good things that come about that, especially that will like improve our mental health, especially like Arushi, if we are outgoing people and get our energy from other people. I think it could be really good for us. But as far as schoolwork goes, I guess we have to wait and see.
I did not learn anything during the pandemic.
It was just lectures, and like I don't remember this study, but like it's been scientifically proven that lectures are one of the worst ways to help students retain information. So if you're just having like 5 or 6 back-to-back lectures and like in high school, it's just, you're not going to remember anything.
Right. Or even in college, like imagine getting assigned a lecture, and as I said, you don't see the teacher. The teacher's giving the lecture, but it's pre-recorded. They share the video with you, and you're on your computer, probably sitting. Okay, I'm speaking from a personal perspective. Probably doing it on your bed, laying down,
watching TikTok at the same time.
Watching TikTok. I saw this thing. This is so unrelated. I saw. I think everyone can relate. Like I would be taking a class on my bed, but I like turn down the volume of the class so I can watch TikToks.
I feel like school districts could do such a better job.
They can.
Yeah, they just
I think especially like after everything we've talked about and just the mental health pandemic and COVID happening, they should put two and two together and work with us.
Even before the pandemic, if your teacher assigns you work, you're still gonna have to do it. Like you just have to be better at time management. And sometimes there's just not enough hours in the day. So like there's only so much you can do. But I don't see like any schools doing a lot when it comes to mental health. I'm gonna tell you guys about this terrible experience I had in middle school with one of the counselors just to make sure that I was like okay.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I went to talk to her. I kid you not, guys, like I felt like I was a burden. I just want to make it clear, just because you don't have a diagnosed mental illness, that does not make your problems any less.
And you can share like symptoms of a diagnosis, and that's valid enough. I have like kind of a similar situation that happened to me earlier this week actually, and it's dealing with college advisors. I was just asking like a simple question, and I wasn't talking to my usual advisor, and she was just trying to get me off the phone basically.
Just get it over with.
Just get it over with. She didn't even meet with me over Zoom, and I felt like a burden. I was embarrassed for asking a question that I have no idea what I'm doing because I'm a college student. They don't let us know.
I'm speaking from my experience. Like I live like in like a very like the high school I go to, like it's like a lot of like it's privileged, like funded a lot more. So I can't like if the situation with mental health like counselors is already like kind of really bad here, I can imagine how it'd be for like schools that are like underfunded and like they don't even have any resources for mental health. Like how much worse is the situation for the kids like it would be, because they literally wouldn't have anyone like trained to talk to.
Yeah, I feel like some teachers do care, but then there are other teachers who have like the mindset like school is only a place for academics. But mental health is real, and it can affect everything: your physical health, obviously your schooling, your grades, everything just falls under it. Like if that's just not in a good standing, it's gonna topple over everything else like dominoes.
So we spent all this time talking about like the effect of mental health on education and like how it like schooling affects mental health. I want let's talk about like tips on managing stress and like maintaining health during school, like mental health during school. The first thing, it would be like taking breaks. Like nobody wants to sit through like doing 5 hours on end of just assignments. So like I think there's this one method, I think it's called like the Pomodoro method, where it's like you work for 30 minutes and then take a 15-minute break and then just keep doing that. And it's like that's proven to actually have like a lot more, it's like it's supposed to improve your mental health, and it's also supposed to like it's better like education wise, like people are more productive when they take breaks. Oh, and the second thing, like we talked about before, was like just you got good sleep. Like
Yes.
You can't really function without sleep at all.
I struggle with insomnia. Do not study where you sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like Anna was saying, like I take lectures in my bed sometimes, but like I've been actively trying not to do that, because when you're watching a lecture, you're not like half asleep. Or maybe you are, but like you start off with like focus, and your brain will start associating that location with being awake, and then you won't fall asleep. It also helps to sleep in a cold room.
Yeah, I have to have the fan on. It's like I can't do anything in like a hot room. It's just really uncomfortable.
Another tip that you can use just to manage your stress and maintaining good mental health is breathing exercises. And now, it might seem stupid. It is shown, like studies have proven, that if you take deep breath, if your exhale is longer than your inhale, it is proven to calm you down.
When you're anxious, your heartbeat goes up because that is a fight or flight reaction, as you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
So the best thing to do is try to regulate your breathing to calm yourself down. And I used to be like, that's not gonna help. That's not gonna help me go to sleep or be less anxious. But I actually found that it's really, really difficult to try to regulate your breathing. But even just trying to focus on doing that, it takes away your mind from whatever you're stressed about earlier. And that's what we practice in yoga.
I was gonna say that was like the same thing with meditation and yoga, because like in meditation, it's like you're supposed to clear your mind, but like clearing your mind is a really difficult thing to do. So like you do that with breathing exercises and like maintaining a steady flow of breath. And by doing that, it kind of takes your focus off other things and like helps you empty your mind, which is why like meditation, if you like do it like kind of quote unquote correctly or like for like long enough time, it can help you relax. And the same thing with yoga, it's like you're working on like body positions, so it's like kind of clears your mind in that way.
One more thing since we're on this topic. In Sanskrit or Hindi, it's called Avardhan Dhyan. It's literally deep relaxation. And every time I do it, I fall asleep. But that's also because I'm usually exhausted when I do it. But someone has to guide you through it. You could probably find like a YouTube video or like a script online. And basically you like start off like regular. You're laying on the ground. You're just supposed to lay somewhere where you're comfortable with your eyes open, closed, whatever you want. Basically wherever you're comfortable. And this lady, she'll talk to you and she'll be like, okay, relax your shoulders, relax your like jaw. She'll tell you when to tighten like certain muscles and certain body parts, and she'll tell you when to relax. And it is proven that it does help your body relax. Sometimes it helps, like I said, I fall asleep every time I do it. And I'm like, maybe 5 minutes in and I'm like, I'm out. But it really does help. I feel like a lot of stuff in like Indian culture, like meditation, yoga, this thing that I'm talking about, Avardhan Dhyan, like it all really can help. Meditation actually helps.
I need to meditate so badly. I think everyone should practice meditation. There's so many books and like media coming out with all this great information about meditation, but it's kind of a daunting task. I think it makes me a little bit anxious to be like to have to sit there, just me and my thoughts. But I know that if you even just start with like 5 minutes every day, that amount of time can turn into like 30 minutes a day.
Not even like 5 minutes, because the point of meditation is that you're not supposed to think about other things. You're supposed to focus on your breathing. And some people can't do that for more than 2 minutes when they start.
I try to meditate every day or at least 3 times a week. And when I started meditation, it was like really hard for me to just sit in one place and not move and like just focus on my breathing. But the main thing I want to talk about is like a lot of people have like this idea of meditation where you're just like sitting down and like in one place and like with your hands on your thighs. I think that's what's called, but that's not like the only way to meditate. There's like a lot of different ways to meditate. As like she was mentioning before, it was like Avardhan Dhyan, like in yoga, I think it's like a pose called Shavasana. It's like where you're laying down, and like that's like just a form of meditation in itself. And it's like there's like just a lot of ways to meditate for like people who can't just sit in one place.
Yeah,
I really like that.
Yeah, that's like so cool. People always they always have that preconceived notion that meditation is like you lay with your arms on
for hours and hours.
Yeah, meditation can be anything, and I feel like for every person that's unique. For me, playing music, my drum set, like if I'm angry, I'm just but we have talked about so much today, and we're veering into like this meditation conversation, which we will definitely have on another episode. But thank you for joining us today. And before we end, I just want to say that if you are stressed out and if you do feel like your mental health is deteriorating because of school or something in that sense, please reach out to somebody. Even if you don't feel like there is somebody in your life you're comfortable enough going to, there are crisis hotlines. You don't need to have a mental illness to go to it. If you're in crisis, if you're stressed out, if you don't know what to do, you're freaking out, reach out to somebody, because most of the time that person will help you. And on that note, we will end it here. Thank you guys for joining us today. Have a good day, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.